Hello, and welcome back to the channel. As most of you know, I'm Topher. And for those of you who don't know and just randomly decided to click on my video, welcome to the channel. I'm Topher. Thank you for stopping by. So we're here to do a reaction, and we are diving back into the world of Miracle of Teddy Bear. I was sick last week, so I did not get to record a reaction to this, along with a couple other series. So I'll be giving you guys double reactions this week. I don't know if depending on when I get things edited, I don't know if the next reaction will be out some point today. It might be tomorrow, sometime the next couple days. So just stay tuned on the channel. But there will be 2 episodes this week. But yeah, we're gonna just dive back in and see where this episode takes us. Okay. Um, yes. While it's on my brain, I'll just talk on it. I need um I need us to cross this bridge with Song's daddy because at first when that scene was going down, that last little scene there, I thought maybe was just misreading the situation early in the series, because early in the series I remember when we first found out that Nung was the person dating um, Nut back in the day, and all that was left at Nung's was this picture of him and this guy, and we didn't know who this guy was, and like Song's dad was making some commentary about, oh, like they're not real men or something along those lines. I don't remember. It just gave me very homophobic vibes, and I was like, I don't like this. I don't like this. We gonna, and I could see Song have some sort of feeling about it visually. I'm like, I don't like this. But we haven't really crossed too much into that territory with him since then. So it's like maybe I was just misremembering things. And then when Daddy's sitting there watching, and Song and Gen are just being absolutely precious, absolutely adorable. I love them so much. And just having this conversation with this back and forth, and Daddy's just sitting there watching and listening. I'm sitting here like, okay, how is this going to turn out? Once we finally reveal that Daddy's there, is this going to be a big, like, anger, upset, I can't believe my son is this, that, the other? Or is the conversation that he had with Tofu going to, you know, make it so it's like, okay, he's realized the error of his ways, and he's willing to accept his son regardless. So they hand over to Daddy, and they was playing this really nice, soft, and gentle music. I'm like, okay, maybe Daddy is okay with this. He's learned the error of his ways, and he's here to support his son regardless. And then he's like, you didn't tell me that this was a love story. And he's like, are you okay with that? And he's like, of course. Why wouldn't that be? I'm like, okay, yes, come on, accepting parent. And he's like, but you're not gay in real life, right? And I'm like, we were so close. We were so close, y'all. So close. And then we just kept breezing over that the rest of the conversation. So we have this really, really nice moment between father and son, like kind of reconciling feelings and talking openly and honestly, mostly. And for me, I'm like, that's nice, but it's kind of like undone by the whole anti-gay sentiment Daddy was having like 30 seconds before. So while this is nice, I'm happy that they are communicating. There's still this giant elephant in the room where I'm like, hmm, we still haven't addressed this. And I get it, coming out is not easy for everybody, so I'm not trying to force Song out of the closet or anything like that. But it's a conversation that needs to happen because Daddy clearly has some sort of opinions or viewpoints about this, and I don't like them. I don't like them, and the conversation needs to be had. Um, so yeah, that whole sweet moment that we're having there at the end just felt kind of invalidated for me because of the 30 seconds we had before where Daddy's like, so you're not gay in real life, right? It's okay. I'm fine with you playing this story, but you're not gay in real life, right? You don't do that. Okay, okay. It's just like, I don't like that. I don't like that, Daddy. I don't like it. And then complete contrast to Daddy is Gen's parents, who are the best thing in the entire universe. They are so damn, they're just perfect. They are perfection. Like, I love them. They are the MVPs of this series, and they are so damn good at what they do. They're so good at being parents. And like, yes, there's no such thing as a perfect parent. I know that. But like, they are so damn good. They're so understanding. They know how to communicate. They just get it. They just get it. They just get it. And they're like the ideal parents that you want to see in these situations, because it's just like the conversation that she was having with Song and Gen at the hospital was perfect. It was literally the perspective that Song needed, because it's the perspective that honestly you probably can only get being a parent, where it's like, yes, I love all my children equally, but I can't love them the same way because my children are different. All children are different. So the way that I show my affection towards this one is not necessarily going to be the same way I show my affection towards this one. And then as a child, recipient of the affection, seeing the difference in their way they're being treated might give them the complex that, hey, mom and dad love this one more than they love me. And it's like, that's not the case. It's not that we love them more, it's just that kids need different kinds of affection or attention, and that's just how it worked out. So, he might have felt more of an independence from Song, where it's like, okay, maybe I don't have to be quite as hands-on, which, may not be fair to Song. um, but it doesn't mean that he loves him any less. It's just his way of showing it is not as maybe open as it was with Nung. um, but yes, Gen's mama, perfect conversation, exactly what we needed. And even Gen was chiming in like, hey, I love my parents the same, but I interact with them and I have different kind of conversations with them. And I'm like, absolutely. I love my mama and I love my daddy. But the conversations I have with my mama and the conversations I have with my daddy are two very different brands of conversation. I cannot have the conversations I have with my mama, and I cannot have those conversations with my daddy. Okay, because my mama is like, she's at this point in life, she is a friend. Okay, and the conversations I have with my friends, the things that I send via text, the songs that we jam out to, just the shenanigans in general, it's very much the same that I would do with some of my close friends, my gay friends, whatever. Like, very, very just like, if you tune into the podcast with me, Synergic, and Miguel, those kind of shenanigans, exact same conversation that I could have with my mama, honestly. Like, when I reacted to, a couple days ago, when I reacted to the one guy basically naring his asshole on YouTube and showing God and everybody, I immediately sent that over to my mama. I said, I couldn't send that to my daddy. God knows. God, but I sent that to my mama because that's just the kind of relationship we have, and just laughing like, oh my God. And then she went and sent it over to one of her good friends and whatnot. And it's just that that's just the nature of our relationship. So yes, it doesn't mean I love my daddy any less. It's a difference of interactions, and it works the same way with the parents. Like, it doesn't mean that they love their children any less. It's just they have different ways of interacting with their children, and it's just a realization that Song needed to have. But also, on the same token, Tofu was having conversation with Song's daddy, and again made him kind of realize, hey, the same thing. This is how you're treating them differently. I know you don't love them differently, but like, you're focusing so much on this one, and it's like, you've got this one here, and it sucks to be forgotten about while you're alive. It does. So like, hey, maybe mend this relationship. Um, yeah, Gen's parents, they're so fabulous. I love them. Let's see what else happened. We got we start the first half of the episode was very delightful. Aside from Prib and the whole love confession at the birthday party, um, the whole first half of the episode was just lovely. Great romantic moments between Nut and Tofu. Um, Nice moments with Gen and Song trying to cheer up Prib. Um, just lots of great, open, honest conversation with Nut and Tofu. I love to see the growth in Nut because if you were to compare this Nut to Nut in the very beginning of the series, he was a hothead who would fly off the handle at just the slightest breeze. Okay, and he so closed up and just so flying off the handle. That was him. And now he feels calmer. He feels more mature. He feels more willing to listen and more willing to communicate, and it is beautiful to see. He's not saying everything, and that's fair. We don't always need to say everything, but he is willing to communicate. And just that little instance we had when they were outside the mall, when Nut went to pick up Tofu, and he's like, hey, I had some of the best memories of my life and some of the worst memories of my life in that place, and I will tell you about it, just not right now. When I'm ready, I will tell you about it. I'm like, you know what? That is fair. And that is so absolutely mature because, again, I just appreciate the honesty. It's so mature to just be like, hey, yes, I have a lot of feelings about this. And I'm just not ready to talk to you about them. It's not that I don't want to share with you. It's not that I'm trying to hide things from you or keep secrets. It's just that I am not ready to talk about them right now. But just know that I want to tell you. I want to share it with you. And when I'm ready, I will share it with you. But right now, I'm not ready to dive into that right now. It's a very, I could appreciate someone telling me that versus like saying, hey, I'm just trying to keep secrets. I would much rather someone just be honest with me, like, hey, I don't want to talk about this right now. At some point in time, I may be ready to talk if something went down, but right now I can't talk about this. I can respect that so much more because it kind of it would for me it would put my mind at some sort of ease rather than like me sitting here wondering like, let me just sit here and try to dig and find information like just honest conversation. It's beautiful, beautiful. Love to see the growth. Love to see emotional growth. And I'm very happy that the rainbow cake did not set off an anger emotional response because I feel like if this were 5 episodes ago, that would have been what would have happened. Nut would have flown off the handle and like, oh well, why you give this to me now? Why couldn't you do this when I was like? I feel like we could have gone south very quickly like 6 episodes ago. So I love that we just we just allowed ourselves to feel the emotion. They were emotional. It was happy. They were tearing up, and they just basked in that emotion. They didn't try to fight it. They just accepted it, and it was nice. It was nice. Um, I don't like what's happening with Mama right now, um, because it feels to me as though they're setting her up to be killed off, and I don't like that. It's one thing to, or maybe they're not killing her off. I don't want them to kill her off, but it just crossed in my head. Maybe it's not that they're killing her off so much, because there's obviously something going on with her memory, and I don't know because last episode she was like kind of forcing herself to relive all of these old memories and just trying to repair the fractures in her brain, in her memory, and like great, it's great progress, but maybe that was too much all at once, and maybe it's having some sort of like physical adverse effects to her brain. Um, and maybe it's those physical effects that it's having is causing the memory loss, this, that, and the other. Or maybe it's just medication, or maybe dementia or something might be setting in. I don't know. I don't know exactly where we're going with this storyline. But the way like the furniture keeps like going to sleep indefinitely and all the other parts, and they even mentioned that Mr. Sib's chair fell asleep after he died. It's like, okay, well, all of these things keep going to sleep, and she's having all of these, she's feeling tired all the time, and she's having all these memory lapses and whatnot. It's like, are we killing her off, or are thought I was just having, are we not necessarily killing her off, but maybe like the functionality of her brain, maybe dementia or some other sort of mental illness is setting in. So her memory is going. And as her memory goes, the liveliness of all of her belongings is also making its way out the door because she is no longer the person that she was. Like that person is kind of dying off because the memory is gone. I don't know. I don't know where we're going with Mama, but I don't like it. I don't like it. And I can see why Tofu is feeling nervous because I've been feeling nervous for Tofu for episodes at this point now. Um, and I, I was wondering, like episode two, three, or whatever, that one episode when he was watching the laundry and he passed out, and then Nung kind of woke up from his coma very moment, or not Nung, um, Tarn woke up from his coma very momentarily and then slipped back in. Um, I was wondering, what is the connection between these two people? What's the connection? And now that we're seeing the furniture have this sort of effect with Na, whatever's happened with Na is linked to her belongings. Um, so now that we're seeing that happen, it does lead me to believe that because Nung is the person who bought Tofu, um, that there is some sort of link between them. And I don't know if the link, I don't know if Tarn were to like pass on, if that means that Tofu is also going to pass on. Um, because when Tofu was unconscious, Tarn was awake. When Tarn fell back into his coma, Tofu woke back up. So I don't know if it's maybe the reverse. If Tarn were to just be out of the picture, Tofu would stay human and awake forever. But if Tarn wakes up, then Tofu's going to turn back into a teddy bear. Like, I don't know. I don't know exactly what the connection is between, but it's starting to make more sense. The fact that the connection between the person who, not really the owner, but the person who kind of initiated this, the person who bought him, and their lifeline, it's making a little bit more sense. Um, but yeah, I don't know what we're doing with Na, and I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Leave her alone. She's been through enough at this point. We had brief interactions with Jan, and again in that scene, like I mentioned, I like how Tofu, he wasn't necessarily trying to be catty or vindictive or hurt Jan specifically. Me was wanting that to happen because the second Jan starts flying off of the mouth, like 5 episodes ago, I was willing to take Jan's side and take her perspective and be like, okay, I can understand hurt people, blah blah blah. But then after a while, I'm just like, you know what? I ain't got time for it anymore. I tried to be on your side, lady, but you were just out here acting a fool, wilding too much, and I ain't got time for it. So you just need to be put in your damn place at this point. So um, when Jan was going off on Nut like that, I was like, I just need someone to just go in on her, put her in her place. Because like obviously Nut is not going to like sit here and like go in on her. Nut at this point, maybe like 6 episodes ago, Nut might have flown off the handle and started yelling and screaming and something like that. But at this point, Nut's just like, you know what, I don't have time for this. And he was walking away. He's like, you know what, I ain't got time for this. Um, but it's like I need somebody to go in on Jan right now because Jan needs to be put in her place. Because at this point she's saying all manner of just nasty things with such malicious intent, and she's trying to play it off as, "Oh, I'm doing it." It's like, no, 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 no. You know exactly what you're doing, and you need to be told about yourself. So I was happy that Tofu was able to say certain things, and the fact that he wasn't saying it from a malicious place, he was genuinely just asking questions. I think that made it hurt even more, and it's like, okay, good, good. She need to be told about herself. I ain't got time for her. Let's see, were there any other major plot points? Like, there's a lot of stuff that happened in the episode. Fantastic episode. Soundtrack, soundtrack did not have to go as hard as it went this episode. Um, we're getting closer to Nut seeing Prib's connection with Tarn. So we're getting closer to that sort of potential reunion. Because they keep like passing ships. They keep almost crossing paths. So Nut almost sees Prib, drawing or this, that, the other, but they just keep missing each other, but they're getting closer and closer. So um, that'll happen soon enough. All of the camera work from them shooting the series in the universe, shooting the series that Nut's working on. Beautiful, and I loved how we kept cutting in between like the actors playing the characters and the actual Nut and his memories. Like it was very, very well done. Um, yeah, I think that's the majority of the things. So yeah, lots of great stuff in the beginning. Um, Lots of great conversations happening throughout. Lots of great parenting from Gen's parents. And then Song's dad was there. Um, yeah, I'm excited to check out the next episode. So be sure to stay tuned to the channel over the next couple of days, and I will have that reaction out. Because again, last week I was sick, so I didn't get to record anything. So you guys get to this week. But hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, turn on notifications to be notified when all my shenanigans get posted. If there's anything else you'd like me to react to, be sure to leave it down in the comments. I'll get to it as soon as I possibly can. If you'd like to support the channel in other ways, you're more than welcome to join us over on Patreon. You don't have to, but you're more than welcome to if you want to. I'll see you guys in my next video. Love you.